Hey, I just finished testing the new Zhiyun Crane 2, and today I'm going to show you some sample footage, and I'm going to give you some pros and cons to this gimbal, and I'm going to give you my recommendation on whether you should upgrade or buy it. Hello, my name is Joshua Morin. I'm a travel filmmaker, and today I'm testing the Zhiyun Crane 2. First, I'm going to start with some sample footage. If you guys want to skip ahead, just check the more section and there'll be links. Also, I just released a brand new video called Go Jordan. I'll put a link above. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Now let's get right to the samples. Okay, so let's start with all the improvements from the Crane 2. The first thing is the addition of the quick release plate. It's made just like a Manfrotto quick release plate, and it fits into the same system. So that's a bonus because I used to always put a quick release system on top of the Crane in order to swap out cameras or be able to access my camera for handheld work. Another addition to the Crane 2 is the new knobs that they use. This makes a huge difference trying to set up your gimbal. One of the major faults of the older versions is that the knobs that they use, you'd have to crank them and over tighten them in order to get them to stay, and frequently they would still move. But now with these new knobs, you can just clamp down and it's not going anywhere. And one tip is that I talked to Zhiyun about this, and if they have any interest, they'll release just these knobs and you'll be able to replace these on the older versions of the V2 and the V1. So if you're interested in buying something like that, then please comment below and I'll let them know that there is an interest and they'll release it. Another addition is the follow focus. Now I use Sony and it doesn't work with Sony right now. I don't think it ever will, but I also spoke to Zhiyun about that, and they're going to release a mechanical follow focus which will be able to be attached to the camera, and then you'll be able to use the follow focus via this wheel. So I'll look forward to that, and I'm going to try and review that right when it comes out. Another improvement on the Crane 2 is that they added a little spot to put a mic. So you can screw it right into here, so your camera sits here and then the mic would sit here. Another good thing about the Crane 2 is that the adjustments are a lot smoother to make. I think they machined the grooves a lot better on this version, and it's really easy to slide back and forth. The other versions are a little bit more difficult. It's still doable and manageable, but definitely better on the Crane 2. Great thing about the Crane 2 is when you're flying the A7S II with the 16-35, which I am all the time, on the older versions, the V2 and the V1, the camera sits very far back on the gimbal, so it's very hard to flip the monitor up to be able to see. On this version, it sits a lot more forward, so you have enough room to be able to flip the monitor up. Other improvements are that it has an LED display, and you can toggle between motor strength settings and see your battery power, and also I believe it can charge a camera. Now I played around with some of these settings, and I don't think that the sensitivity does anything right now. I'll have to play around with it a little bit more to see, but as far as I know, I use the app in order to update the settings on the gimbal, and when I flicked back and forth from some of the settings in the LED display, it didn't seem to do anything. So one thing that I notice is starting the gimbal in inverted mode like this doesn't seem to work. The gimbal gets a little bit confused, but I contacted Zhiyun about this, and they mentioned that there's going to be a firmware update in order to fix this issue. So some of the drawbacks to the Crane 2 is that it's a bit heavier, it's a bit more expensive, and if you can't use a follow focus, then it kind of gets in the way. I saw somebody remove this knob. I'm not really sure how, but if you do figure out how, please leave it in the comments below. And now for my recommendation. The Crane 2 is an amazing piece of hardware. I think it's a great upgrade. I don't think that everybody should do it. It really depends on how much you're going to use it. The V1 and the V2 are still great gimbals. They're lacking a lot of the features on this gimbal, but if you don't think you need the weight capacity, then this is a heavier gimbal to carry around all day. So if you're working 6, 8, 10, 16 hours a day with this one compared to the other one, I'm not sure. An extra pound, is it going to make a difference? I think that this gimbal is a great improvement over the other versions. They're heading definitely in the right direction. I was really looking forward to using the follow focus. Unfortunately, it doesn't work with Sony cameras. It's a little bit disappointing, so I'm really waiting for that mechanical follow focus to come out. If you have the version 1 or the version 2, I'm not sure if you should really upgrade. It depends if you need to fly a larger camera or not. So my recommendation is, if you have a V1 or V2, I wouldn't upgrade at this point. I would just wait a little bit unless you think you're going to start flying a heavier camera soon. But if you're buying a new gimbal, I think I would get the Crane 2. It's better in a lot of ways, and it's definitely an improvement over the other ones. Well, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you at the next one.